Hey guys, welcome to IBD Warrior CIRS Healer, and you are either watching on YouTube or you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can find me on YouTube right in this channel. The channel is Free Spirit Jennifer C, and the playlist is IBD Warrior CIRS Healer, and so simple, so easy. So make sure you really, if you're listening, try to watch the videos if you want, because you can see me, see what I look like. And yeah, I want to show you my cool painting of the blue bird that's right in back of me. I actually did that painting, so I'm very proud of it. And all honesty, this is my third take because I was just babbling on about dumb shit for about 5 minutes in the first couple of videos. And I was like, no, we cannot do this. We have to be quicker. We have to respect people's time. So today our video is on narcissistic abusive family systems, and this is part 2. If you would like more of an overview, then go to part 1, which I did not label as part 1, but that is episode 113, just the episode right before this, and this is episode 114. And yeah, so let's go. By the way, I'm wearing something really kind of festive and happy because today is a bit of a gloomy day, just weather-wise, and you know, the subject isn't the happiest, so I thought I'd sparkle it up a little bit. Anyway, okay, narcissistic abusive family systems, part 2. So I, of course, can't find this. This happens to me all the time, and I find something on the internet, I'm like, this is so good, and then what happens? I never find it again. I don't know if that happens to you. I should bookmark it, but I'm so neurotic, I can't stand having all these bookmarks. It drives me crazy. Anyway, so I found this great quiz when I was searching the internet. It was a 12-question quiz on, are you in a narcissistic abusive family system? And I took it, and my answers were 11 out of 12. Yes, I'm in that system. Now, when you take that quiz, I have to say, like, I just took it for confirmation, but as soon as I found my first video and was looking on YouTube, I was just like, wow, this is me. I mean, within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, yes, I am not in a good way, but I was the scapegoat, and I was definitely in this type of family system. So for some of you, it may really just resonate in, like me, in 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Some of you may be like, you know what, I want to go the extra step and I want to take a quiz. So definitely search for that quiz. Otherwise, Jerry Wise has this wonderful video, and all you have to do is, again, search it on YouTube. It's 10 signs you're in a narcissistic abusive family system. And that one's really good too. So either way, you can just confirm with yourself that this is the path where you want to go, because it's quite a path to go down. And you know, you want to make sure you're going down the right path, right? I also would like to recommend another individual who really helped me on this journey just through YouTube and free resources, and her name is Dr. Ramani. It's Ramani, and I found her excellent as well. I have to say I gravitated a little more toward Jerry Wise from my situation, but I found Dr. Ramani incredible, and she is incredible, and I've heard a lot of good things just through the grapevine about her. So make sure that you look at her videos as well. Again, all these resources I'm giving you are completely free, you guys. You know, that's the best part of this. As I've said before in one of my videos, I'll give you the really expensive resource, and then I'll give you the free resource, just to make sure that everyone's healing at every income level. I think that's so important. Okay, back to all this. There's something else I was going to say about Dr. Ramani. Oh, Dr. Ramani, why I thought she was fascinating, or I think she's fascinating, is because if you're in a situation that's not American, or let's say you're from a different culture and living in the US now, and you come from one of these situations where your culture, you have to take care of your parents as they age. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That is culturally expected of you. But what happens if your parents are both narcissists, or you're in this narcissistic abusive family system? How the hell do you deal with that? That is not my situation, but I really I would say sympathize for those of you who are in that situation, because you're trying to heal generational trauma. You're trying to move and, be free from all this, but yet now your parents could be living with you for 20 years. So definitely go to Dr. Ramani for that, especially like the family dynamic where you cannot leave it. She's a really good resource for that. Okay, so let's talk about the main topic of today's video, and that is the idea of enmeshment, or being enmeshed with your family. And it's really a fascinating concept that Jerry Wise talks about, and I'm going to talk about my personal story of being enmeshed or enmeshed, however you want to say it, with your family. So here's what happens, because I'm just going to be real blunt here. Because you grew up in this narcissistic, abusive family system, and quite frankly, you were brainwashed to think that you were the scapegoat. So again, as you have to watch video 113, but I go more through the roles. But there could be the golden child. Like in my case, my dad was a narcissist, mom was the enabler, sibling, golden child, I was the scapegoat, right? So you are brainwashed in all of these roles. And I was brainwashed as a scapegoat. So I went through my life with a scapegoat mentality, right? And there were so many things where I didn't have self-love, I didn't have self-respect, I didn't have self-confidence, because my family would just shit on me 24/7. And sometimes like the memories will come back at certain moments and I'm like, wow, that's another instance of where they did something horrendous to me. And I think being the scapegoat too, your freedom and your creativity and your true self, as Jerry Wise talks about, are completely stifled. That's the big part of it. Your true self is completely stifled. And with me, it's a little bit complicated because I'm adopted from another country. So when I came here as a baby, my parents adopted me. So there's a part of that where I was also culturally, I hate to say the word, but whitewashed, right? And I now had to assimilate to this other country, different culture, whole thing. So I really did not have a sense of myself or my identity growing up at all. And then being part of this narcissistic, abusive family system, it really compounded that. And that was hard. So what happens is, because of the brainwashing, and you're taught, or I was taught, that I'm the scapegoat and I can be emotionally dumped on all the time. I can be disrespected, abused, mentally, verbally, emotionally. Did I say that? And there was other abuse too that I'm not going to talk about today. I talk about it on the podcast. But yeah, because I went through all that, I am unfortunately enmeshed, or I was, with my family of origin, right? And again, in my case, it's a little confusing, because is my family of origin from my birth family? I consider them more my birth family, right? I don't know them. Versus my family of origin, who are the people who adopted me and raised me. So those are the people who were toxic to me. And because of their toxic behaviors, because I grew up in that house, because I unfortunately was brainwashed with all of it, I became enmeshed with these people. Sorry, I'm doing this. With these people and with my family. And I took on the toxic thinking as well for myself. And that's the problem, is you have to learn to unmesh from this family system, right? You have to learn to unmesh from this family system, meaning you have to learn to, here you are, here's your family, you're like this, your thinking is like this, you have to learn to go like this and say, that's not me, that's my family, and that's the family system. And that's how you find the true self, which Jerry Wise talks about, and I took his amazing course, which helped me get there. So I just want to give you a really good example from my life. My dad was terrified of traveling, terrified. Like, we lived an hour and 15 minutes from New York City. We never went as children, never went to Broadway plays. we never, you would think that would be normal, right? Like you go in on a Sunday, go to a matinee, take your kids to a Broadway play, to Rockefeller Center, I was about to say that like a real New Yorker, Rockefeller Center, skating, the whole thing. Never happens because my dad controlled the family because he was a narcissist, right? And he controlled the family, and he was so terrified of traveling anywhere. And because of that, we barely traveled. And when we did, it wasn't fun. That's a whole nother story to get into. It wasn't fun. And also it was miserable in regard to getting there. And it wasn't even worth going, you guys. Like, it wasn't even worth going. Even Disney World, my parents did take us to Disney World, which I appreciate, especially for the 1980s. That was really expensive, and I do give them credit for that. But that was the one fun vacation we had, and my dad made it miserable because he was so everything. He was terrified of the airplane. He was terrified of parking and crowds and all that kind of stuff. And because of that, I remember we had to go, like we had to wake up at like 5 a.m. to go to the parking lot at Disney World or whatever, maybe 6 a.m. when they're open at 8. I have no idea, you guys. I haven't been to Disney World in so many years, 35 plus years. And we had to just sit there and wait until the gates opened to Disney World so my dad would get the parking spot he wanted. That's how scared he was of traveling and anything, I think, that was out of his control. And I think he had a problem, right? I think there was a real sickness there. And I do want to say that, I do sympathize for that. I really do. I understand. I wish he had taken it upon himself to... Sorry, guys, my dog is going crazy. Thank you, Jake. My dog is just playing on the couch in front of me, so I'm getting distracted. But I wish he had taken it upon himself to really get the help he needed, but maybe that wasn't in his cards, and that's okay. Anyway, so the anxiety was so bad that when I started to travel again, because I was really sick, as you guys know, or some of you know, I was in a flare in 2021, an IBD flare, inflammatory bowel disease, which had me bedridden and housebound and all that. And I was getting scared to travel again. I was having that fear. And I noticed throughout my life, even though I was excited to go somewhere, I've lived in 3 different countries. I've pushed myself. I've done solo traveling. I've done solo traveling before it was a thing. I've done solo traveling since I was 21. So at this point, 30 something years. I guess it's a thing now. But, I've been that globetrotter, world traveler, corporate flight attendant on private jets, the whole thing. But I would always have this anxiety behind it. I would never feel comfortable with it. And I've done so much of it that it actually doesn't make sense. And then I realized that anxiety was caused by my dad. And I was enmeshed. His anxiety, the family's anxiety, me. But once I was able to separate myself, I realized I'm not that person. I'm actually really excited to go. I'm going on a trip in 4 days, and it's a big trip. I'm going to be gone by myself for a month, which I'm really excited about. And I'm excited because I took the family system and the brainwashing out of it. And I know that Jennifer, J. India, I am my true self, and I am truly excited. Hold on. Let me look at my time here. Sorry, guys. Okay. And I am truly excited to do that. So once I was able to do that, I am now very excited about traveling. I feel pretty calm. I'm sure I'll feel a little nervous the night before. I'm sure on the flight I may not sleep or whatever, but leading up to it, I feel fine. I feel good. I feel ready to go, even though I'll miss my family and my dogs and all that kind of stuff. Still, it's not what I'm carrying from my dad. So this is why it's so important to really study and look up the idea and, I did it through Jerry Wise. You can do it with someone else, but you have to unenmesh from your narcissistic, abusive family system, and then you can figure out your true self. And I guarantee you, your true self is not this nervous, jittery, terrified at every step, to, to travel that type of person. I have a feeling that your true self is someone who wants to thrive, who is thriving, who's blossoming, who's probably underneath all this and separated from all this, a very happy, loving, stable person. So that's just my big example. I hope that you guys, if this resonates with you, definitely start looking up free resources on YouTube. Again, you can listen, watch this podcast, and also you can follow me at Free Spirit Jennifer C on Instagram. I post about middle-aged female kind of fun stuff. It's very meaningful. So I post these videos, but it's also very fun. So if you want like a little escape, you can do that. And then also, I keep forgetting, I forgot to talk about it in the 3 videos. I am bringing back my newsletter. I brought back my newsletter, and that's on Substack. And I will put it below in the show notes, whatever YouTube calls them, the notes below, and I'll have a link to it. And yeah, and then you can also follow me on Substack. Now that's where you're going to get a lot of the IBD, trauma, that type of stuff, what I'm talking about here. And what I've decided with this new revamped newsletter, I keep forgetting to look up there, sorry. What I've decided with this new revamped newsletter is to just talk about things that I haven't talked about on any of these videos or in any episodes, to where you get extra information. And I'm really excited about that. So anyway, what do I call? I call a perfect poo in my household a green heart. I hope everyone has a green heart day. Love ya.